HS2 is a project of national importance to the UK, and the skills and experiences of international companies will be needed to help achieve our vision. And in fact, many international companies have already been successful in winning work on the scheme and helping us develop to where we are today. I've had great pleasure in visiting Germany and spending time with Deutsche Bahn over the last few years. I've seen the new high-speed rail construction sites between Erfurt and Ebensfeld, which I think is now open. At the time, you were testing and commissioning that section of the new line north of Nuremberg, and it's great to see the development of German high-speed rail and understand what we can learn from that in developing the UK's new network. So by bringing investment and your creative skills to the UK and working alongside local suppliers, you can certainly be part of what is now Europe's largest infrastructure project. And to help you identify and access opportunities, today I want to give you three main things. Firstly, an update and an overview of HS2 as a project. Secondly, an update on our procurement pipeline. And thirdly, what you can do to engage with us. So HS2 is Britain's brand new low carbon high-speed railway. It will serve 25 stations and connect 30 million people. Following unequivocal backing from the Prime Minister in February, in April, we received what is called Notice to Proceed on HS2 for Phase 1 between the West Midlands and London. And this means we're now beginning to construct the railway, with Friday the 4th of September marking the official start of main construction following 3 years of preparatory works. Now, this is of course a difficult time for the industry in Europe and across the world. We are working to strict guidelines to make sure that the work that needs doing now can be done safely. We are operating on around 230 sites. That's about 93–94% of the sites that could be open are open on HS2. So we've made great progress in bouncing back from the pandemic to maintain our momentum. And the fact we are all systems go means it's a very exciting time for us and a great time to be part of this project, because we can now get on with delivering it. So why HS2? You can see on the screen there. As was mentioned in the introduction, the case for HS2 is based on the 3 C's: more capacity, better connectivity, and cutting carbon. And the strategic case for HS2, despite COVID-19, is likely to remain highly relevant to the UK and, of course, its legal commitment to achieve net zero carbon by 2050. And more immediately, HS2 is uniquely placed to support the UK's green economic recovery, creating some 22,000 jobs over the coming years, all across the UK, providing opportunities for many thousands of businesses. In terms of our construction statistics, the scale of the work ahead on Phase 1 alone is frankly breathtaking. Although HS2 isn't the longest high-speed railway in the world, it's very intricate, with a high volume of very complex civil engineering required to link city centre to city centre and navigate the dense web of existing roads, railways and utilities. High-speed lines in Europe tend to be constructed from the outskirts of city centres to the outskirts of city centres, and then utilising the existing network to feed into those city centres, whereas HS2 is new build right into the heart of our cities. So that requires a high volume of tunnel, and also to minimise its visual impact, we've pushed the railway very deep into the ground. So there's a huge volume of earthworks to be undertaken, particularly the cuttings, as you can see there, but also the embankments as well. In addition, there's 3 new stations to be constructed, one of which will be the largest new build railway station to be built in the UK for over 100 years. And in terms of the key technical features, HS2 will be a very high-speed metro-style operation with high frequencies, small headways, and low station dwell times. So this means that our infrastructure must be extremely reliable and resilient and able to cope with very high tonnages and also a changing climate. And this will require high levels of automation and precision of construction and systems engineering. So everything we design must enable a harmonized, efficient end state operation. So from the bridges we build to the systems we install and the trains we run, it must all support the delivery of an outstanding passenger experience, one that every one of the UK's diverse citizens can access, enjoy and benefit from. To date, railways are frankly not accessible to everyone, and we are designing a system to make travelling by train the mode of choice and the easy option for people to navigate, irrespective of any impairments they may have or any anxieties they may have about travelling by train that we see today. And I would add as well, from a technical perspective, many of the aspects of HS2 have been delivered somewhere in the world, whether it be our frequencies, whether it be our speeds. However, what's unique about HS2 is the combination of these things all together, which I think presents some challenges that we must work through, particularly from a systems perspective and a systems integration perspective. Some of you on the event today may be familiar with the Crossrail Project in London, which is a new east-west railway, which new tunnels underneath the centre of London and 8 brand new subsurface stations. The Crossrail Project is nearing the end of its programme, but as you may have heard, it has been delayed by a number of years. And a lot of the reason for that is the challenges that they have faced around integrating the variety of systems that come together, as well as the software, so the signalling and the trains can work in harmony. And that's presented a number of challenges, and we are looking to learn from that so that we can design out some of those issues and tackle some of those interface and integration issues at an earlier stage as possible, so that we can make sure that we can hit the program that we have set out. So our vision for HS is to be a catalyst for growth across the UK, and we've developed 7 strategic goals which we use as a framework for the way we evaluate tenders and measure supplier performance. So, for example, it's critical that we are a good neighbour to the communities who will host us during construction and operation, listening and caring for their needs and being considerate, professional and transparent at all times. I cannot stress enough how important that is for any supplier working on one of our sites to demonstrate the highest levels of professionalism and integrity in the way they go about their work. HS2 is under more scrutiny in the UK than any other project that's ever been taken forward. For some people, it remains controversial, and therefore we are held to the highest standards, rightly so, and we must make sure that we adhere to that at all times. And in addition, we want to create a skills legacy on HS2 as well, and it's important that suppliers at all levels of the supply chain understand this as well. So if we look at skills and employment, we must bring on board the right people with the right skills at the right time, because above all, HS2 is a people project. All construction projects are about people and people coming together to deliver really great assets. And we have adopted an approach to procurement that sets the highest standards for supporting skills, employment, training and career development, such as apprenticeships or providing new opportunities for people out of work. And we also want to change recruitment behaviour as well to attract a more diverse talent pool into the transport and construction sector and better engage young people in technology and engineering careers. And now I know in Germany you have very, very good education system in place. In the UK, in our sector, in our construction sector, we have a skills shortage at the moment. So we are keen to use HS2 as an opportunity to attract more people into our industry and change the image of the sector into one that's dynamic, technology focused and cares about its people. So moving on then, HS2 developed a series of 4 values, and all of the above that I've talked about is reflected in our 4 values. So in order to win work on HS2, just moving on another slide please, both tier one suppliers and the companies who supply them have to subscribe to these goals, these values and these guiding principles, because they shape everything we do as a business and form the basis of our relationship with all stakeholders. And any of you that may have been to a HS2 event before will have heard us say that how the project is delivered is as important as what is delivered. In the UK, the end goal isn't about creating just a really fantastic asset. The end goal is also about changing the industry, moving the industry forward, and leaving a really positive and strong economic, social, and environmental legacy as well. So, for instance, safety must always be at the forefront of mind in a modern construction project. But the key to achieving excellent safety performance is looking after and investing in the health and well-being of our workforce. And we expect suppliers to do the same. The current best practice benchmark on safety and health isn't good enough, and we need to raise the bar further if we are to achieve our aims. We must also respect all of the stakeholders along the route and those that are impacted by the railway, positively and negatively, regardless of their thoughts on the project. And that's especially important if we are to retain confidence of government, but also the permissions that we need to build the phase 2A and 2B elements of the route as well. Of course, we must lead by example, and that's expected of everyone in the HS2 supply chain as well. And we must demonstrate genuine integrity, being fair, transparent, honest, and consistent. So everyone that's won work on HS2 to date has been able to demonstrate their commitment to these values. So moving on, where are we at? What's our progress report as a project? Well, over 2,000 businesses have already delivered work for HS2. 72% of those are actually SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, and the majority are based in the UK. But we've also seen a number of international companies join forces with UK companies or help develop our scheme from an engineering, design and technical perspective. And that's important because clearly the UK has a very relatively limited experience in high-speed rail. High-speed 1, in effect, was an extension of the French high-speed line on the other side of the Channel Tunnel, which made sense for consistency of the route at the time. But with HS2, we have an opportunity to develop a domestic network, and that will be to different standards than what we've seen on high-speed 1. Our new supply chain maps on our website show you the distribution of businesses across the UK. So on phase 1, that's the first section of the route from London to Birmingham. As I mentioned, we have 230 active work sites with a huge range of work underway. Services will begin running between London Old Oak Common and Birmingham between 2029 and 2033, and then from London Euston. Phase 2A takes the new high-speed infrastructure to Crewe in the northwest of England, and the hybrid bill, which is the planning permission in effect that we need to build that section of the route. That's currently following its parliamentary process in the House of Lords, and we hope to receive what's called royal assent this year, where the bill becomes an act of parliament. Following the Oakley review and the publication of the full business case for HS2 in 2020, and the government intends to align the opening of phase 2A with phase 1, so that it will open at the same time. Phase 2B completes the western leg to Manchester, and then also takes the line east through the East Midlands up to Leeds. And again, following the Oakley review last year, the government announced its unequivocal backing for the full HS2 network, and we are now working closely with the National Infrastructure Commission on an integrated rail plan to ensure that phase 2B will be fully integrated with other programs such as High Speed North and Midlands Connect. You may be aware that there's a range of rail upgrade schemes being developed in the UK at the moment, some of which are hugely important, and in building HS2 we need to make sure that we take advantage of that and we maximise the value of all the schemes that are being taken forward so that they are integrated and work with one another well. Whilst this work is underway, the government has asked us to prepare a hybrid bill for extending the route from Crewe to Manchester, so it's likely that the western leg will be completed before the eastern leg. So as you can see, HS2 in 2020 is very much a significant year for us. So moving on, we're preparing to start tunnelling, and at the peak of construction, 10 tunnel boring machines, each a self-contained underground factory, will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, weighing up to 2,200 tons. Each 160-metre long machine will bore and line the tunnels as they drive forward at speeds of up to 15 metres a day. And you'll see the photo in the bottom left of that screen there. That's actually the factory at Heron Connect. Some of you may be familiar with Heron Connect as a supplier, and they are developing and delivering the first 2 of our tunnel boring machines. Secondly, a huge amount of earthworks will begin to create the straight route that we need for a high-speed railway. The HS2 alignment is actually built to 400 kilometers an hour. So in terms of the alignment, it's actually built to a higher specification than what will operate. We'll operate up to 360 kilometers an hour. And the construction also of our most iconic structures, such as our viaducts, will also begin this year. So who's delivering all of this? I want to just touch on the construction quickly before we move on to talk about more the rail systems aspects. So you'll see in the next slide, the construction of the route will be delivered by 4 joint venture partners. These contracts collectively are worth around £12 billion. So it's the largest civil engineering contracts that have ever been undertaken in the UK. And they are picking up the baton from our enabling works contractors. And these suppliers here will be working with us for the next 6 to 8 years. Already they have a procurement pipeline in the hundreds of millions are actively engaging with the market. So moving on, you'll be able to see the range of supply chain opportunities that are likely to be generated by these suppliers. And their engagement approach consists of a mixture of direct engagement events, the use of a system called Compete For to advertise all HS2 subcontract opportunities, their participation in an annual Meet the Contractor event that we as HS2 run, and we're planning to do a virtual Meet the Contractor event later this year before Christmas. They also undertake value-based procurement. So the important thing to note here is that this is not about lowest price tenders win. It's about taking a balanced approach to considering value in the broadest possible sense, taking into account sustainability, carbon, skills and employment, all the things that I've mentioned so far, as well as the quality of the program, the constructability and the price as well. So it's taking into account all aspects. And we've developed what's called a common assessment standard, whereby suppliers can pre-qualify based on industry standard questions. And once they're pre-qualified with one contractor, they won't have to pre-qualify again with another. So moving on then, our procurements. As HS2 Limited, as the client body, we still need to buy billions of pounds worth of contracts to deliver phase 1. Since April this year, we have launched almost £3 billion worth of procurements. So let me take you through the categories. So the first is our stations procurement update. Moving on the slide, if you may, please. We need to procure construction contracts for our 2 Birmingham stations. In August, we issued the invitation to tender for Birmingham Curzon Street. That's right in the heart of Birmingham. The following bidders will be invited to tender for this £570 million contract. BAM Ferrovial JV, Lang O'Rourke and Mace Dragados JV. And we expect to commence procurement shortly for Birmingham Interchange. One thing to note is that sustainable design is at the heart of our plans for our stations. And through innovative design, we've developed a pathway to achieving an unprecedented 55% reduction in carbon emissions for Birmingham Curzon Street over its 120-year life cycle. And in operation, the station will be net zero carbon as well. Over 40 delivery partners have collaborated to achieve this, which shows the importance of working together on HS2. And I would stress on carbon, we are looking to do everything we can to bear down on carbon in construction. HS2 has and high-speed rail in general has a great story to tell once in operation, and we're taking steps to achieve zero carbon in operation. However, during the construction phase, there is clearly going to be a carbon impact. So if you are a supplier that can help us innovate to reduce carbon emissions impact, either through design or through construction or through the systems and the technology that we employ, then we certainly want to hear from you. So moving on, our railway systems procurement, and I suspect this might be a category that would be of interest to the people on this call this morning. And the HS2 rail systems have a critical role to play in supporting the seamless, dependable and people-focused experience that HS2 must achieve for decades to come. These are the contracts that turn a building project into a fully functional railway. And of course, the rail systems must be integrated, they must be reliable, they must offer value for money with built-in safety and flexibility that maximizes the benefits of rapidly evolving technology. And in general, our contracts cover design, installation, testing and commissioning, alongside technical support as well, once we're into operation. We've received pre-qualification returns for the following contracts. For our track systems contracts, which consists of 4 lots, we're adopting a slab track system for phase 1 and phase 2A of HS2. In Germany, you will be well aware of slab track systems on high-speed lines, given that is also the technology that you use. We have received PQQ returns as well for our tunnel and line side mechanical and electrical works. This is all the tunnel fit out, so it's the installation of ventilation systems, fire protection systems, low voltage power. Also our control, command and signalling and traffic management contract. This is a single contract, again covering phase 1 and phase 2A for our signalling, which will be an ETCS level 2 solution with an ATO, automatic train operation overlay as well. To our knowledge, there are no systems in the world operating at the speeds and the intensity that we wish to adopt under an ATO technology. So we're certainly looking to introduce that. And as well, our traffic management system will also look to employ the highest levels of automation in how it can plan and replan the services, and in conjunction with ATO, support the real seamless technology-led operation that we need, particularly when we are suffering any delays. The ability to quickly recover from those disturbances is absolutely key as well. Operational telecoms, that consists of the data transmission network, the telephony system, tunnel radio and GSMR, as well as security. And the overhead catenary contract as well, that's the OCS contract, second in from the left. Again, one single route-wide contract, and we have procured a license for the layout design from SNCF for the OCS system. So all of those procurements are underway. We also have a PQQ process underway for our HV power system. That's the traction power and the high voltage distribution system, so all of the substations along the route as well. And procurements to follow include the engineering management system. In December, we expect the procurement to start for the engineering management system. It's in effect an integrated SCADA solution. So it's the overlay to all the varying SCADA systems and the visualization of a single user interface for operatives in our control center to be able to have visibility of the status of all of our assets and also be able to control those assets as needed as well. So that's quite an important system. We also are going to start procurement for our track switches and crossings. We need to buy 165 track S&C units, so a very large number of S&C units we need to procure. And also the Washwood Heath rolling stock depot as well. We expect to start procurement next year for the Washwood Heath rolling stock depot and the network integrated control center as well. That will all be on the same site. And importantly, that contract also includes the track, the signalling, the plant, the overhead line equipment, and all the systems needed for a fully functioning depot. So actually that contract is less of a civil engineering contract and more of a systems integration contract, if anything. Okay, and I look forward to taking any questions on any of those contracts that you may have at the end. Moving on, if I may, to phase 2A and giving a bit more detailed update around phase 2A. That's the section in purple between the West Midlands and Crewe. We have announced the use of a different model for the construction of our civils works to that of phase 1, utilising a design and delivery partner and smaller works packages. And the design and delivery partner will be responsible for programme management, commercial management, project management, as well as overseeing the design and systems integration. And this means that HS2 will be quite a thin client when it comes to phase 2A. And we will procure the works contracts, which will be broken down into more asset-focused packages, so viaducts, earthworks, tunnels, as opposed to the large phase 1 style contracts that we've seen. And the design and delivery partner will manage those contracts. We're looking to launch the procurement of the design and delivery partner this year in Q4, and the works contracts will start procurement next year. The works will be staggered as well. Phase 2B, moving on, we expect to start procuring ground investigation contractors in the first quarter of next year. We hope to understand the outcomes as well of the strategic review for the eastern leg of phase 2B by the end of this year. So we've got a bit more clarity on what the scheme will look like for the rest of phase 2B. So moving on, please, to my penultimate slide. Just want to touch on how you can best maximise your chances of success. I think it's certainly important to understand HS2's vision, our values, our strategic goals, to really get under the skin of what we're trying to achieve. It's not a tick box exercise. It's important that suppliers demonstrate an understanding of the challenges and the technical aspects of HS2, as also the wider economic drivers for the project. To register with the right online tools. So for instance, all direct opportunities that HS2 procure are advertised on our website, as well as a government platform called Contracts Finder. All subcontract opportunities at tier 2 and tier 3 of the supply chain are advertised on a platform called Compete For. So we encourage interested companies to register on Compete For, create a profile, and sign up to receive tailored alerts once contract opportunities go live. Certainly have policies in place before procurement starts. I'm sure many companies on the call today do, but particularly smaller companies, it's important that you have your up-to-date health and safety policies, a quality policy, quality, environmental in place before procurement starts. Consider partnering with other suppliers as well, if appropriate. Don't be put off if you can only do part of the scope. It's about teaming up with others where that may provide a more compelling proposition. We've seen quite a lot of suppliers join forces. If you look at our joint venture companies that are delivering the construction, they've joined together to respond to those contract opportunities. Certainly weigh up your decision to bid. So carefully look at the evaluation criteria. Can you meet the requirements? What's the competition likely to be? Do you have the time and the resources to produce a strong bid? Can you realistically win? And if you're not sure about any of that, certainly ask the procuring company, whether it be ourselves or whether it be one of our contractors or suppliers. Ask to make sure you've got complete clarity on exactly what the procurement process is going to look like. Take time to really understand the specific requirements. And I would suggest as well being true to your core competencies as well. Like you've all got great capability, I'm sure, and I think it's about in part being true to those core competencies that you know you can bring to the project. And you're all here as well because you're interested in building a relationship with HS2 and building your network as well by attending events and forums, building personal relationships with trade bodies like, of course, VDB. Understanding, the impact that social media can have. I think that's all quite helpful in building a business network, particularly with companies in the UK that already have a presence in the UK, or as you're about to hear from DB Engineering Consulting, those that have set up a presence in the UK, so that you can learn from other organisations. Certainly the West Midlands Growth Company, and of course David is here today, provide fantastic support to businesses looking to set up in the West Midlands in particular, but there's also many other support services out there in the UK to assist with companies looking to set up premises in the UK. So my final slide, what you can do now. We have, as HS2 Limited, we have a series of supply guidance on our website. So if you just simply go on hs2.org.uk, In the top right hand corner, you'll see a link to supply chain, and that will give you the links to all of the information on the project, our supplier guide and FAQs, our supply chain maps, some case studies, and importantly, our contracts table as well. Certainly register on Compete for all indirect procurement opportunities. So we require all of our contractors to advertise their procurements on Compete for. So it's a single portal that you can go to see all HS2 related subcontract opportunities. We are a member of what's called the Supply Chain Sustainability School in the UK, and you can access resources and e-learning material to help you understand HS2. Working with business organisations, of course, is important, certainly in Germany, but also perhaps in the UK, so that you get to understand the UK market and what your market entry strategy might look like. And of course, you're very welcome and free to contact us directly. You can reach myself, Robin, on scc@hs2.org.uk, and we'd certainly look forward to hearing your ideas, your questions, your challenges over the coming months and years. And that's everything from myself. Thank you very much for listening this morning, and I certainly look forward to receiving any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin, for these insights to a very fascinating project. We will be sharing all these slides with the participants after the web seminar. As you said, there are many possibilities for enterprises to locate and to have business in the West Midlands region. To give us an introduction on the several investment opportunities in that region, I would now again hopefully try to get David in the call.
Thanks, Pauline. Okay, hopefully everybody can now see that and hear also. I'd like to once again thank you to the VDB for the opportunity to present to you today and for us to update you on the exciting opportunity in particular that HS2 brings. And it doesn't really matter. I think that we've reversed the order slightly. I'm just going to talk through a little bit about the opportunities in the West Midlands area around Birmingham for the rail sector in particular. And I'll say a little bit about our services and the organisation, of course, that I represent. Myself, I'm Head of Business Attraction with West Midlands Growth Company. I'll say a little bit about West Midlands Growth Company in just a second, but what I would like to say is that business attraction is about helping companies establish or expand in the West Midlands area, creating jobs. So it's inward investment, foreign direct investment. And Germany is a key market for us in that. So I'm delighted my colleague Jonas Winkler, who's based in Frankfurt, joins us today as well. We have representation in Germany to support companies looking to invest in the UK, as it is such a key market for us. So I'll introduce the growth company, a little bit about the West Midlands region. Particularly then I will focus on some of the opportunities in rail for the West Midlands. You've already heard about certainly the largest and most significant in HS2, and I'll finish with some thoughts on what our inward investment support is for companies looking to set up in the region. So West Midlands Growth Company, who are we? We are an organisation who are owned effectively by what's called the West Midlands Combined Authority, a group of local authorities in the West Midlands area of the UK. We also have 6 universities as shareholders of us and a commercial partner network, private sector companies who are part of the promotion with us of the region. And HS2 is indeed a commercial partner of ours. So our primary purpose, as you can see there, is to attract investment, business, jobs and visitors to the region. And the bit that concerns me is around investment, business and jobs, as I mentioned. We have a number of target sectors for investment, priority sectors. Future mobility as a whole is one of those, and rail specifically in that. And as I say, I've already mentioned that German-speaking markets, including Switzerland and Austria, very much a key focus for us. So where exactly is the West Midlands? For those of you who are maybe not so familiar, we're right in the centre of England, about 180 kilometres from London. That's currently about an hour and 22 minutes by fast train. That's obviously going to get faster when HS2 commences. We have 3 core cities in the region, Birmingham, Coventry and Wolverhampton, an overall population of just over 4 million in that area, with Birmingham being the second largest city in the UK at just over 1 million population. The area that we cover covers 3 local economic areas, Greater Birmingham and Solihull, Coventry and Warwickshire, and the Black Country, which takes in towns and cities of Wolverhampton, Dudley, Sandwell and Walsall. Connectivity is certainly an important asset for our region and the businesses who are in it. We would describe ourselves certainly as the most connected region in the UK. As I mentioned, Birmingham to London at the moment is just over an hour and 20 minutes by train. That will definitely speed up when HS2 arrives. So from Birmingham Curzon Street Station, the new station being built for HS2, to London Euston, that journey time will be around 49 minutes. And from Birmingham Interchange Station by Birmingham Airport, 38 minutes to the centre of London. We have Birmingham Airport, and most principal German cities are connected with direct flights there, and a number of cities in Switzerland and new flights to Vienna in Austria as well for our German-speaking markets. The UK population, 90% of that population is within 4 hours travel time, train or car from Birmingham. So rail plays a huge, sorry, I just skipped a slide there. Rail plays a huge part in our connectivity. Birmingham New Street Station is the 5th busiest station in the UK, handling something like 48 million passengers last year. Obviously, these figures are pre-coronavirus, and there's no way the capacity, the handling of passengers will be that sort of number this year, unfortunately. The station underwent a massive transformation in 2015, a £750 million development, and is really a gateway to our region now. Tech and digital technologies are principally at the heart of innovation going on in the West Midlands region. I'd just like to mention our 5G testbed, which is the UK's first multi-city testbed, which is a major asset for us as we attract business to the region. There are opportunities, particularly in the area of future mobility, involving rail, for companies to be involved in this, a number of specific funding programmes that we as an organisation play a part in connecting companies to. So it's exciting times, particularly in terms of digital connectivity in the region. Turning to rail specifically, and just some of the UK market opportunities to mention, there's currently somewhere in the region of £135 billion investment pipeline projects in the UK. Network Rail, the organisation, the government-owned organisation responsible for the track, stations and infrastructure in the UK, is currently going through a 5-year investment programme of £42 billion, and there are a number of specific themes within that where they prioritise. UK investment in rail is the highest in Europe at the moment, and this has been happening over the last few years actually. Not without good reason, of course, because for a number of years the railway in the UK was underinvested in. So it's an excellent opportunity at the moment for companies to be looking at what's going on in the rail sector in the UK and to see how they can play a part. We've seen significant growth in rail passenger numbers and freight in recent times. Ben earlier mentioned the increase in freight and the key role it plays, rail freight, through the coronavirus situation, and that's certainly something we have seen in the UK rail freight sector also. But rail passengers, just to give you an idea of passenger numbers, back in 2009-10, something like 1.2 billion passengers were using the rail network in the UK. That rose in 2017-18 to 1.7 billion. So we've really seen significant growth. Particular opportunities in digitalisation in the UK, light rail, which I'll mention in the context of the West Midlands, and decarbonisation, which we've already mentioned. There is the plan in the UK to have be free of diesel trains by 2040. That is a target and an ambitious target, given many of you will know the UK has less electrification currently in place than many of our European country colleagues, with around 40% of the network currently electrified. So again, an opportunity there. Within the West Midlands, a number of initiatives at the moment and going forward taking place in transport technology as a whole. I mentioned our future mobility zone. Within rail specifically, we have opportunities in light rail, West Midlands Trains. The local passenger train operator in our region is currently going through a £1 billion investment programme, with £700 million of that in new rolling stock. A lot of investment in integrated transport, and High Speed 2, of course, the most significant opportunity, which Robin has covered. So capabilities and opportunities in rail in the West Midlands were strategically located for companies to access these. We have around 13% of the UK's advanced engineering workforce. The region is synonymous with manufacturing since the Industrial Revolution, and through continuous innovation we continue to have a strong manufacturing sector, and that includes the rail supply chain sector. We have some leading rail research and development skills activity going on in the region, and a critical mass of engineering consultancy organisations in design, for example, and project management. And you can see just a selection of some of the investors there on the slide, and notably quite a few that we have from Germany, DB Engineering and Consulting, who you'll hear from, also DB Cargo, who recently expanded their rail freight terminal in Wolverhampton, Siemens Mobility, Knorr-Bremse, and Gemini Rail Group, owned by Mutares of Munich, for example. You've already heard the detail about the HS2 project from Robin. And just briefly, I want to highlight the significance that Birmingham and the West Midlands plays in the project, both in phase 1, as Robin has mentioned, from London to Birmingham in terms of the route, and phase 2A and 2B, where the new route then goes north to Manchester and Leeds. But Birmingham is also home to the HQ for construction and procurement, so many companies have already located in the region to be close to that decision making. We will also be home, as Robin indicated in some of the forthcoming tendering activities, to the Network Integrated Control Centre and the Maintenance Depot at Washwood Heath in Birmingham. So significant opportunities for companies who are looking to engage in HS2 by being based in our region. I mentioned light rail. That's undergoing significant expansion in the region at the moment through West Midlands Metro. Much of the decision making for local transport and rail, it should be said, is now handled through the West Midlands Combined Authority, our parent organisation, and principally Transport for West Midlands as the body in that. So there are a number of contract opportunities administered in the local rail opportunities by Transport for West Midlands. There's an expansion in new trams. CAF have been awarded the contract to build those 50 new trams. There is also increased opportunities in control, communications and passenger information systems, and extension of the routes as this spreads out from the centre of Birmingham and Wolverhampton, where the existing phase 1 route was. Much of this is actually linked to part of the HS2 growth strategy to increase more local connectivity linked to HS2 in the region. Very light rail is also an area where we see opportunities in the West Midlands area, and in particular a pilot programme in the city of Coventry, where a number of local companies with expertise in design, for example, through TDI, Transport Design International, and RDM, who are manufacturing a demonstrator vehicle for a light rail pilot project to take place in Coventry. This links in very much so with our research and development partners. So the University of Warwick, for example, engaged in this with their WMG Work Manufacturing Group. This will be a battery-powered vehicle, a demonstrator vehicle, to be ready this autumn and then tested not too far away in Dudley within the West Midlands region, where a very light rail National Innovation Centre has been approved and is under construction. This will also have a test track and focused around activities such as lightweight structures, propulsion and energy, and vehicle dynamics. Sticking with the research and development side, we are home to Birmingham Centre for Railway Research and Education at the University of Birmingham. That is Europe's largest rail research and education group. You can see some of the areas of expertise that BCRRE focuses in. It does this extensively with industrial partners. Siemens, for example, from Germany, heavily involved in that. They can do customized industry training and educational programs both at undergraduate and postgraduate level also. Very exciting is a development in a new Centre for Digital Systems at the University of Birmingham. This is part of a national programme called the UK Rail Research and Innovation Network, which has been led by the University of Birmingham. There are a number of these centres of excellence being set up around the UK. The one in Birmingham, as I say, will be in digital systems, opening later this year. And you can see the focus areas there on the slide: future railway operations, data integration and cyber security, smart monitoring, autonomous systems, and very much driving innovation in the railway through this. University of Birmingham is also a partner with Porterbrook, rail rolling stock leasing company, in a hydrogen-powered train, which they have developed, the Hydroflex train, which is now involved in testing on mainline rail lines in the UK. And this is seen as very much one of the potential solutions in our decarbonisation challenges on the railway. I mentioned the University of Warwick and WMG there, who are principally involved in lightweighting technologies, battery energy storage, and the very light rail applications for the programme in Coventry. It's very much part of our role to connect companies into these organisations to explore how they can work together in technology and skills that the universities have in relevant areas. Finally, on the research and development side, we are also home to a unique rail testing site in the UK, Quinton Rail Technology Centre in Warwickshire, which is the UK's only light rail testing facility as well, and a looped test track with 20 kilometres of tracks there. It's also home to Rail Alliance, which is the one of the rail industry associations in the UK, and again we play a role in connecting companies to that. So finally, from me, as I round off, why Birmingham and the West Midlands? We feel that we can give access to unprecedented market opportunities in the rail sector from having a base here in the UK, through our own connectivity being centrally placed with ease of access to the rest of the UK, but also access to decision making, whether it's in HS2's HQ in Birmingham, or whether it's through some of the more regional administered opportunities through Transport for West Midlands. We have a rich and growing talent pool in terms of skills availability, some unique leading rail research capabilities, and these capabilities in digital systems and decarbonisation that I've mentioned. So our support, as I conclude, what does that look like? It's free support to companies who are looking to establish or expand in the region. And basically it's around internal business case development for that. We can help find property, commercial property. We organise regional visit programmes for companies. We can do that in a more virtual sense at the moment, of course. I mentioned the commercial partner network we have, so whether it's banks, lawyers, accountants, recruitment firms, we can connect you to those, and giving the access to universities and other technology centres of excellence. We don't administer financial support ourselves, but we can connect companies to what financial support initiatives there may be out there. And we like to celebrate with you your investment in the region. And this is something that we've done, for example, with DB Engineering and Consulting as part of the support for helping them set up in the region and helping them grow companies who invest with us in ongoing investor development. So I'd like to thank you all for joining this morning as well. I hope that's given you an insight into some of the other opportunities in addition to HS2. My contact details are there, as they are for my colleague Jonas, based in Germany, and happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for this interesting overview. I would then move on in the program and would ask Christian Hünefeld, Director UK DB Engineering and Consulting, to give his presentation.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pauline. All right, thanks a lot for having me. My name is Christian. Do you actually see myself as well, or is the camera?
Your camera is switched off, but otherwise we could see you, yes. Now we can see you.
All right, good. Yeah, my name is Christian. I'm the Director UK and Ireland for DB Engineering and Consulting. DB Engineering and Consulting is the engineering and consulting arm of Deutsche Bahn, the German railway, you most probably know. Yeah, we are a company, somehow that doesn't move. Okay, we are quite a large company. For most of the audience, I don't think I need to explain a lot of Deutsche Bahn. So we are the infrastructure manager, but we're also operating quite a big amount of trains, passenger as well as cargo trains in Germany. What most people don't know about Deutsche Bahn, that we are not only like a German company, but as a matter of fact, we are a multinational company operating throughout the globe. And we have leading market positions throughout various fields of transportation. DB Engineering and Consulting itself is part of the infrastructure division of Deutsche Bahn. We have roughly 5,000 employees, and we as well operate worldwide, currently in roughly 84 countries, and we are present on each and every continent, as you can see here. Of course, with a concentration on Europe, Eastern Europe, and the MENA region. Yeah, DB&C in the UK, UK/Ireland. So this is the range of our clients so far, with Irish Rail, Network Rail, HS2, DfT, Transport for London, WSP, Porterbrook as well, Bombardier, Sistra, GHT. Typical clients of us, of course, are regional municipal transport operators, state-owned, but as well private infrastructure managers and train operating company or freight operating companies, usually. DB in the UK, as a general, I think it's fair to say that we are pretty much, as well as we are a German company, we are also a British company. DB as a whole has roughly 320,000 employees. From those 320, 120,000 are working outside of Germany. Out of those 120,000, almost half of it working in the UK, with the biggest companies in the UK being DB Arriva, which is a train operating company, and DB Cargo, which is a freight operating company. Next to those two companies, we have DB Schenker, DB ESG, DB Sistel, and the newest addition is DB Engineering and Consulting, which I represent. So the history of DB&C in the UK is, in 2017, we decided that UK is a lucrative market, that there is a significant investment, actually very similar to Germany. At the time, the plans for spend in railway infrastructure was actually bigger than in Germany. They changed, but still, I think it's the second biggest market for us in Europe. in terms of investment spent. So, and that's why we went there in January 2018. I came to the UK, did all the formal stuff, hired in May already the first two employees. Then I've been based in Derby, because we have the sister company DBSG based in Derby, and it was just easy to start there. However, midsummer we decided to go to Birmingham for several reasons, which I show on the next slide. And then in Q3 to Q4 we won the first contracts within the UK. One of the first contracts was a contract with HS2, where we did SlabTrack consultancy. That was the phase one of our SlabTrack consultancy job with HS2. Currently, we're carrying out phase three of this job. Yeah, why Birmingham? So Birmingham is very central in the UK, as David already showed. We have excellent resources, but it's also very close to traditional railway centres such as Derby, Doncaster, and Sheffield. Yeah, we are very well connected in Birmingham through all modes of transport, the international airport, various highways, motorways, and of course the West Coast Main Line and other railway lines, which brings us to several other major cities and hubs. So then you have affordable housing, which is different in London, of course. You have excellent universities, and HS2 is based there as well. Network Rail, of course, is also right around the corner with one of the headquarters at Baskerville House. So all in all, I believe Birmingham was the right decision. Looking at Network Rail, who is our or potentially our main client in the UK, and they're now, how to say, decentralizing their power into the routes. I believe Birmingham is an excellent choice for us. The business so far, so since 2018 we've been investing 2.4 million. We generated 1.5 million revenues so far, so, and we expect the break even to happen next year. Yeah, most of the revenues, to be fair, are coming from Ireland at the moment. However, we see that those revenue streams in the UK are significantly ramping up, especially after Network Rail sorted themselves out and now finally starting procurement for those various design and consultancy jobs for the control period 6, which David mentioned before. Yeah, currently we have 14 full-time employees employed, and looking forward that those become more. Yeah, that's us. Very brief, actually. Yeah, if there are any questions, please go ahead.
Thank you, Christian, for this peek behind the curtain of working in the West Midlands. If you want to get additional information or get in contact with our guest speakers, you can send us an email and we will connect you to our speakers. As we said before, all the presentations will be sent after the web seminar. Thank you a lot to our guest speakers for joining us today. Thank you to our participants. If there are no further questions, all there's left to say is have a nice day and thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Pleasure to take part.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Pauline.